Okay, now I'm going to talk specifically about symbolism. The most important piece of symbolism in Romeo and Juliet is water. Possibly the second most important piece of symbolism is religion. So there are examples of both throughout this. I'm going to be focusing on the water, and sometimes I'll mention that religion is mixed in there somewhere. Okay, so this is the image that we first see of Juliet when the nurse is calling out for her, Juliet! And Juliet has actually immersed her head in the water in her bath, and she's having her own little dream world. And so we're kind of introduced to this real daydreaming, really young character. If you can notice there, she's actually wearing a chain, a silver chain with a cross on it. So that is an example of Baz Luhrmann putting religion everywhere throughout this film. Okay. Here is when Romeo and Juliet meet again after the party, and this is not from the play. In the play, they were speaking to each other while Juliet was on the balcony and Romeo was below. But in the film, Baz Luhrmann breaks that separation and he plunges them literally into the water. Now, water is used throughout the film, and as you'll see, it represents purity and cleansing. So what Baz Luhrmann is trying to say here is, yes, they're kissing and they shouldn't be, but their love for one another and their attraction for one another is pure. If you go back to this image of Juliet, as I was saying, how we're introduced to her as being this young, innocent character, that is communicated to us through the water. It's like Baz Luhrmann is saying, when immersed in water, things are clear, both literally and metaphorically. Okay, and this next one, these are slightly out of order. This is just before they fall into the pool together. See, you can see here, that's Romeo's legs, just up against the word for that has completely gone out of my mind. Up against the wall. Can't remember the fancy word. Trellis, that's the one. Juliet is speaking almost to the pool. She's looking at her reflection, trying to look through the water, wondering where Romeo is, but mostly wondering why he has to be called a Montague, and does that even matter? Okay, and here is where they first plunge under the water and kiss. Very clear symbolism with the water here, but also remember what I was saying about the use of that colour blue. The blue symbolises their love for one another, but remember how, like when Romeo kills Tybalt, it's blue. When Romeo comes across Juliet's body, it's blue. So it's both love, but also it's foreshadowing the tragedy that's going to unfold. Here is where they very, very first see each other, and notice they see each other through an aquarium. They see each other through the blue light. Now, interestingly, Baz Luhrmann was interviewed about this scene, and he said they found it very difficult to actually get the blue light that he wanted. So, in actual fact, sitting in the bottom of that aquarium are blue lights. Now, you never see it, but he wanted that really exaggerated blueness on both characters as they looked at each other. And he wasn't getting it just from the water alone. That's what he thought would happen, but they had to insert the lights in there to get that effect. So that's evidence that he definitely wanted this look. He wanted this blueness. So they're in love with each other at first sight, but there's still this blue. So while it represents love, remember it also represents that foreshadowing of the terrible things that are going to happen.